My friends, hear me. They look at you and they say you are only one. They call you a chump. They sacrifice you. For generations, our kind has been viewed as little more than token soldiers in the larger scheme of our would-be masters. But no more, no more. Together we are many. Together we are strong. Together we are a force to be reckoned with. Tokens of the multiverse, unite! You have nothing to lose but your sack outlets. And you also have nothing to lose except the high cost of formats like Standard and Modern, because Pauper Tokens is a deck that can be put together for as low as $15 in paper, or 30 tickets on Magic Online. Pauper Tokens is a mono-white deck that performs great against some of the most dominant decks in the format. Mono-black control can't control it, mono-red runs out of gas, and even familiar combo can't combo off against this endless force of soldiers and birds. Let's take a look. Obviously, generating tokens is the main engine of this deck, and so it runs 3 Gather the Townsfolk and 4 Raise the Alarm. The convocability on Triplicate Spirits means we can often get this card cast with just a few lands on board, using the power of our tokens to convoke the white mana we need for it. And 4 Battle Screech can usually be flashed back the turn we cast it, meaning we essentially get 4 flying birds for 4 mana. Great value. But it's not just about dumping tokens on the board. Other pieces of this deck interact with our 1/1s, making them even more efficient. The biggest of which is a full play set of Suture Priests. Suture Priest is big trouble for our opponent. A turn 2 drop means each of our many, many tokens will be gaining us life, and also that whenever our opponent resolves a creature, they lose a life. This can get out of control fast, especially if you manage to land a second Suture Priest on board. Suture Priest also literally shuts off the Esper Familiar combo, thank goodness, as the constant bouncing and recasting of their creatures will kill them off long before they are able to do away with us. Now, as a 2-drop, yes, this is a little costly, especially when the deck can easily run 2 Soul Warden and 2 Soul's Attendants in its place. In fact, many white tokens builds do this instead and have the Suture Priests in the sideboard for the Esper combo matchup, but I like to run the main board. Feel free to experiment with both and run the ratio you prefer. Along those same lines, a lot of builds run a full play set of Veteran Armorers. The +1 to defense protecting you from an electrickery wipeout, and making your blockers a little more of a problem to pick off one by one. However, I prefer to only run 1 to 2 Armorers, and instead run 2 Lumithread Fields, an enchantment that does the same thing for the same mana cost, but is much harder to remove than a creature. And you can also cast this as a morph if you do need that creature, and this of course provides you with great flexibility. Again, your ratio may vary, but I'm a bigger fan of the Lumifield thread than of the Armorer. Surprisingly, one of the most amazing cards in this deck is the playset of Icatian Javelineers. That's right, a Fallen Empire's card. You must run these. Getting one of these down on turn 1 is such a headache for so many decks. The Javelineers can target creatures, and so that keeps our opponent from dropping their Delver of Secrets, because the Javelineers will just remove it, or a host of other 1 defense creature cards that usually come out early game. This slows down our opponent significantly, giving us great advantage until they can eventually remove our pesky 1/1. And of course, a playset of Squadron Hawks is needed. It's a great way to add gas to your grip. With all of these creatures, counter spells eventually fail, lightning bolts run out, and removal is all removed while our angry crowd grows. How do we pump it up? A playset of Guardian's Pledge, giving all our creatures +2/+2 is a scary instant. 5 unblocked tokens suddenly hit for 15 damage. And heck, in most games we're swinging in with far more than 5. A playset of Ramosian Rally is also a great way to bulk up our forces. Being able to tap an untapped creature as an alternative casting cost means we can surprise our opponents who might otherwise think us all out of mana for tricks. Unfortunately, this 15-cent card is in short supply on Magic Online. It's not expensive there, but it's just hard to find. So if you're scrounging for copies, you can always toss in a few Bone Splitters in the meantime, as an alternative way to give your tokens some extra punch. Finally, for removal, the deck runs 3 to 4 copies of Journey to Nowhere, a great answer to anglers and other threats your opponent will drop. The mana base for mono white is simple, 19 plains and 2 Quicksand. The Quicksand makes for a great defense against anything coming at us on the land, and it can take out those pesky ninjas Delver decks are so fond of. What about the sideboard? There's so many options in white, and again, your mileage may vary, but I recommend 3 Dust to Dust for sideboarding in against Affinity, and 2 Obsidian Acolytes for sideboarding in against black. Their protection from black and ability to grant your creatures protection from black is such a great thing to have when one of the top decks in the format is mono black. Holy Light doesn't exactly pump our creatures, but its -1/-1 effect on all our opponent's non-white creatures makes for some great combat tricks. Standard Bearer is an amazing card. It forces our opponents to target it always whenever they're playing a spell that targets anything. This means that if they're trying to pump one of their creatures, they have to pump the Bearer instead. If they are trying to bolt us or remove our Suture Priest, they have to target the Bearer instead. It's a great headache. Patrician's Scorn is a very underrated card in general, and does wonders in this deck's sideboard. Destroying all enchantments for free if we've cast a white spell, and at instant speed no less, is great to sideboard in against everything from black to red to hexproof. Prismatic Strands grants us and our creatures protection from damage of a specific color, another great combat trick up our sleeve, and of course Relic of Progenitus for graveyard hate. Mono white tokens for Pauper is a highly interactive, highly versatile deck. It's been 5-0ing a lot of leagues lately, and is an absolute pleasure to play. The fact that it's a great matchup against some of the most dominant decks in the field right now, like mono black removal and the Esper familiar combo, makes its $15 price tag all the more appealing. I hope very much this video has been of some help to you, and remember, you can't play Magic at Target or Walmart, but you can play Pauper at your local game store if you just ask. So when you spend your money, try and spend it at the place where you spend time playing Magic, and that's at your local game store whenever possible. You're supporting your Magic community. Hey everyone, I've added Tolarian Community College coffee mugs to the student store. So if you want a Tolarian t-shirt, a Tolarian playmat, or coffee mug, go to TolarianCommunityCollege.com and order yours today. Yes, I offer full international shipping, and now you can use code URZA, URZA, during checkout for discounted shipping.